So my name's Jasmine Lister. I am 32 and I am from Devon. I currently work as a healthcare assistant on a neonatal unit in Musgrove Hospital in Taunton. I am married. I've been with my husband since I was 13, so we've been together 18 years. So we're childhood sweethearts, as some would say. Today I'll be sharing my son's story, Rhodi. I think it's really important to share Rhodi's story just to spread the awareness of Group B Strep, as it's become quite apparent that there's just not enough information out there for expecting mums already, because I'm already a mum to a little girl called Dolly who's 3, and it's something that I'd never heard of until I was told that Rhodi had Group B Strep when he was fighting for his life in hospital. So once Rhodi had been born, we went back to the labour suite, and well, obviously in our little bundle of happiness with Rhodi, we FaceTimed our daughter, who was ecstatic that she was now a big sister. But no, we came home on the Monday. During the week, we had numerous appointments at our local hospital, where I did question about his feeding because I didn't think he was feeding properly. To which they just sort of said, you know, he is a new baby. Sometimes they do struggle. So I had some support with feeding. We then had our check on the Sunday. So during Rhodi's night feeds at 5 o'clock in the morning on the Sunday, he was quite unsettled, which was really unlike him because he was quite a calm, chilled, content little boy. And he didn't, prior to that, like after that, he didn't feed. So 8:30 came and I tried feeding him a breast and bottle. He didn't want either. So I let it go like an hour. So he went up to like 4 hours without a feed. Again, I tried everything to sort of like get him wanting a feed. He was awake at times, and responsive, but not as he normally would, because he'd normally want a feed. So I rang my local hospital, as I had an appointment with them that day, and just asked if I could get in any earlier. To which they said, no, sorry. So I explained my concerns and was kind of told, just come in at your normal appointment. Again, I sort of said to them, actually, he's not feeding, like that's not normal for him. Again, put my trust in the medical professionals and listened to them and attended my appointment as I should. And when I arrived, when I was sat in the waiting room, I noticed that Rhodi had started grunting. So I took a video on my phone, just so I could show them, because he wasn't doing it all the time. It was sort of in and out. The midwife then went out and made a call. And when she came back in, she asked me to get him undressed, to put him on the scales to weigh him, to which I then noticed he had mottled skin. So these for me were like massive red flags. He had mottled skin, he was grunting, and he wasn't feeding properly. So at that point, they just sort of said to me, actually, we're going to send you to the hospital up the road, which is the bigger hospital, to go to A&E to get him checked over. As we were leaving, I knew something wasn't right. You guess a mother's instinct. However, if they sent us home, it was said that if they sent us home, he would have had a cardiac arrest at home and died. Thankfully, he didn't, because that would have been an even more traumatic experience than what we've already been through. So we got to A&E. We went to check in, and someone was waiting for us, which, as we all know, when you get to A&E, you tend to wait a long time. So they took us round. We sat on the bed. They took us temperature, and with that, we were straight round to resus. And there was 3-4 people, consultants in there, trying to get a cannula in him. To which Rhodi wasn't flinching. He wasn't showing any signs of pain, which for me was another big red flag, because he should be crying. They're trying to cannulate him. Most babies cry when they're cannulated. So they just sort of said, actually, we need to intubate him to be able to stabilize him. So they asked us to leave the room. So we were gone for 10 minutes whilst they intubated him. And when we came back in, there was a group of 10 consultants working on trying to stabilize his blood pressure. I was then asked, are you a carrier of Group B Strep? I was like, not that I'm aware of. I haven't been tested for it. It's not something that I'm aware that I carry. At that point, they had swabbed Rhodi for Group B Strep, and you could see the sheer panic in their faces, which kind of made me and Scott quite unsettled, is because we knew something was really wrong. And then they advised us that they had to be sent to Bristol, intensive care unit, children's intensive care unit. So it was then obviously early hours Monday morning. We arrived in Bristol by ambulance at 3 a.m. Where they then had to set him up on all his medication, the machines. So we then had to sit and wait until the consultant came in the next morning, and she came and told me that actually Rhodi has tested positive for group B strep. They then spoke to us about the seizure activity that he was having, which we didn't even know he was having seizures until they sort of like pointed out the machine, pointed out the spikes in the machine as to when he was having a seizure and when he wasn't. It got to the point where they asked to take him for another CT scan. He had already received one in Exeter, which they were showing no damage to the brain at that point. It was 12 at night at this point. And you can kind of tell by the faces of medical professionals that something wasn't right. He had extensive amount of brain damage due to the infections caused. So they then moved us to a side room with Rhodi and asked like what our plan of action would be next. So he had the group B strep, which then he had meningitis on the brain, which caused the unsurvivable brain damage. So then we had to make the choice as to whether we wanted to continue Rhodi's care and have a child, which we wouldn't know his life expectancy. We wouldn't know, there's a good chance he wouldn't have been able to walk, talk, eat. He would never be able to ride a bike. He would never have a normal group of friends. For myself, Scott and Dolly, the kindest thing to do was obviously to let him pass away on his own. So on the Tuesday evening, we had all our friends and family come and meet Rhodi because no one had met him yet, because we wanted that week on our own as a family. So a lot of people's first hellos were their goodbyes, which for a lot of people was really hard. But we also wanted to give everyone that opportunity because we were proud of Rhodi. Like, he was a beautiful little boy. And then on the Wednesday, we decided that was the day that we were going to take him off of his life support. They withdrew his life support at 6 o'clock, and Rhodi passed away at 6:30 on the Wednesday, the 17th of January. We do little things to keep Rhodi's memory alive. So we brought a plant, which is the rhododendron plant, which Dolly takes pride in watering every single night. And myself, I've been raising awareness for group B strep, and the amount of parents that have come to me saying, actually, Jazz, you saved my baby because you told us Rhodi's story, and because you shared Rhodi's story, I got tested and I tested positive. So I had antibiotics in labour. I lost my child. I wouldn't want anyone to ever have to go through that. So the fact that Rhodi was able to save other children, it gives me some sort of peace in the fact that he's able to do that.